Liverpool cheated, hacking other clubs' databases.
Yeah, and we were found guilty and we paid the fine. Now what?
Exactly.
I don't know how every time I speak on the City fans just get rattled and they tell me, "Oh, you hacked City's database and the scouts and the Michael Edwards and the yeah, okay, we did, and we got found guilty and we paid the fine. Now what? I don't get how's that a comeback? Like you didn't debunk anything I said.
Absolutely. This year from German Chicken Wing, he says, all I'm hearing from you lots are ifs and maybes. Well, of course.
You want me to go to Man City's website, pull up the sponsors again right now? We could do it. You want to play this game, German Chicken Wing? I'll go on Manchester City, global and regional partners right here. mancity.com. You want me to go there? I could go mancity.com right here. Etihad Airways, media, experience, Abu Dhabi, Etisalat, which is the calling the calling service in Abu Dhabi, Emirates Palace. You could go down and down this list right now. It's a bit less than before, but if you go first, Abu Dhabi Bank right there. You know what's mad about all this? They're all owned by the same person, the UAE government, the Abu Dhabi government. Now what? Go ahead. Ifs and maybes. We're not. No one here is going based on ifs and maybes. Oh, guys, we think we cheated. Like we're going based off logical reasoning.
Yeah, and I think as well the if buts and maybes are coming from. Well, we've seen what Everton were fined for breaching the law, but doing it in an honest way. We expect if teams are found guilty of cheating for the punishment to be sizable. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. And again, I'm not talking. I'm just sat here today and I'm going to make a title up saying Chelsea and City to be relegated. You're talking here about a legal expert who worked for Man City believes this could be the case. To ignore that as a talking point is ridiculous. The amount of lies this stream needs to be clipped. Listen. There's no lie in an opinion. So Hassam's given his opinion. There's no lie there. Everything I've told you is documented on some of the biggest by some of the biggest newspapers, some of the biggest journalists, and some of the biggest broadcasters in the world. Nothing I've told you is incorrect in terms of there being a story about it or an accusation about it or a charge or the evidence that those media companies have presented. What I have said to you is that they need a day in court, City. And if City are proven to be innocent, if Chelsea had proven to be innocent, I will accept that personally. Hassan may be different to me, and he isn't compelled to believe the same thing as me. So there's been no lies from my point of view told. Hassan's given his opinion based on what he's read and he's seen. And again, I'm pretty sure if Hassan sees new evidence to show City didn't cheat, he'll change his mind.
Yeah, possibly.
Possibly.
Unlikely, but possibly.
Being sponsored by related parties is allowed for F's sake. Okay.
Ammar, see, this is the problem. Keep this super set up on the screen for a second. This is the problem with you City fans. When we say something logical, there's an Arabic saying, بقول له جمل بقول حلبوه. I cannot tell you I have a bison outside and you tell me milk the bison, because bisons can't be milked. You can only milk a cow. Stop changing the topic because of your copium. No one here is talking about related parties. We're saying it's the same owner. The owner of all these companies that I just stated out is the same owner of Manchester City, because private companies don't exist in the Gulf. Do you understand now? They're all owned by the royal family. It's all owned by the same people. Oh my God.
Also, being related sponsors, you're correct, my friend, is not against the laws. What is against the laws is the accusations that the emails from Man City servers have demonstrated. For instance, a company in the UAE sponsors Man City £30 million per year. But that company only sends them, and I'm giving you a hypothetical example here, 7 million a year. The remaining 23 million is sent via the Sheikh into that company in the UAE, and then they send the money back on. So that way, the owner of the club is funding the company that's sponsoring him. That is what the irony is. If these emails were never exposed, there'd be no proof of this, because the Premier League has no power to ask for the bank accounts and the transactions happening in the UAE. But it's because an ex-employee leaked this information that there is a fervent belief that it's going on. And I always talk about this story. When Etihad Airlines sponsored Man City, this big sponsorship deal years back, I think it was like 09, 2010, around that time, where the department I was working in, at the bank, one of the old bankers who'd been there a long time, I understand things pretty well because I don't even understand how this sponsor can even work. I was like, why? He went, look how much money they're giving City every year. I said, right, what's wrong with it? He went, they make a loss. They're an airline that makes a loss every year. They don't. Where are they getting this money from? And then these emails come out all these years later of essentially it being back funneled. So you're right. The cousin or a brother-in-law or a sister-in-law of a club owner, their business can sponsor your club. What they're not allowed to do is to pump money in through the back door. So they're using almost like a proxy to fund their club above the 100 million pounds every 3 years that you're allowed to invest. That's what they're being accused of, my friend. So it isn't that they've got a related person as a sponsor. That isn't the accusation in any way, shape, or form. Terry, it's not a court, it's an inquiry. Yeah, listen, I might not get the phrasing right, so you've got me on that, but they will be, they have an inquest, and I'm just calling it a court. But yes, they'll have their inquest where the charges will be laid out bare, the evidence will be presented, and there'll be a QC, a panel of QCs that will make a decision as to whether or not the charges by the Premier League stand. And if they're upheld, then the Premier League will issue its punishment. And a lot of people are actually asking, why has Everton been done so quickly and this is dragging on? Well, because Everton haven't been accused of cheating. They've been accused of, well, not been accused. They've submitted their accounts and they've lost money. They can appeal the 10 points, but they haven't. This isn't, oh, we haven't done. They're not being accused of something. They're denying. They're just saying the punishment's too high. So the fundamental difference between Everton's situation and City and Chelsea's, in my opinion is that thorough investigation should be carried out on all top 6 clubs. We will all face charges. Rules are always there to be broken. Bro,
all will face charges is absolute rubbish, by the way. Says who all will face charges? Because I know Man United make the revenue enough to spend money. I know we make the revenue enough to spend money. We don't even spend that much money to begin with. We all know good and damn well Spurs ain't spending no damn money. Maybe Arsenal under Arteta, last 2 years, Arsenal spend money. Don't try to group us all with the same thing just because you feel like you want to do this whole kumbaya thing. There's no kumbaya now. There's nothing that has nothing to do with me. I'm innocent. I don't know. I'm FSG out because we don't spend enough money talking about all this. Come
on. This here says leaked emails in Cass case were not evidence because UEFA lawyers could not prove their argument. UEFA was audited and cleared at Cass. You're waffling. So again, this is the thing for me though. I'm going by this point of view. Like I've said, you may be able to, in a court of law, in the court of arbitration for sport, disprove evidence by saying the way it was gained or time barring it or something along those lines. But when it comes down to, first of all, the Premier League is different. So there is, if the inquest into this upholds the Premier League's original decision, there is no recourse for this to be taken to the court of arbitration. So it cannot be taken to the court of arbitration, which is a much higher level of legal standing, I believe. So you won't have that same process. So if you weren't able to take the UEFA to the court of arbitration, the original verdict of guilty would have upstood. So if this inquest goes in favor of the Premier League, there is no process to go through that. However, like I've said before, I have read those emails. I know what they say. And from my point of view, I don't believe they are fake created documents. I don't believe that someone has sat there and created fake documents. I believe them to be real. That's my thought. And if there's proof that they're fake, and I mean this genuinely, send it to me. Show me they're fake. Show me they're not real emails from Man City, or give me a detailed explanation as to why I've misinterpreted them, and I will genuinely change my mind and fight City's corner. Because if people are making up fake emails or twisting the meaning of these emails to make City look bad, I'll stand by them. I'm a Man United fan, but I'll stand by them because I want the truth to come out. This isn't about a witch hunt. This is about the truth. So if you can show me that, IFL, brother, please send it to me and I'll change my mind. Thank you. Honestly, you two talk absolute shit every time someone responds to you on a waffle and backtracks. Then you are not owned by the same. They are not owned by the same person.
No. Sometimes I don't understand how many times I have to explain this 55. I genuinely don't understand how many times I can explain this. Good luck. I want you to travel to Abu Dhabi tomorrow, 55. Go and try start a private company. Come back and speak to me, and you'll actually get it. guys. The in Abu Dhabi, the Abu Dhabi government, that's the same people that own Manchester City. Okay, there's no such thing as private companies. All these things are owned by the government. That same government, Sheikh Mansour, owns Manchester City. So essentially, the government is sponsoring the government-owned club. You get it? That's basically what's happening. So you're getting sponsored by yourself, and yourself is giving yourself 100 million a year to go beat other players.
And that in itself isn't a problem as long as that company is sending its own money. So, for instance, if it's an airline and the airline is given 100 million pounds of its business's money, there's no problem. What can't happen is essentially Sheikh Mansour goes, right, sponsors 100 million a year. I'll give you 100 million at the start of the year, and then you just transfer that money into Man City's bank accounts. That's what they're not allowed to do. So the irony in it is you are allowed to do it the way City are doing it, as long as the money is legitimately coming from the sponsors. And all the emails and all the evidence says that isn't what's happening. So again, we're actually arguing over a point that isn't where the charges lie. There's companies that are sponsoring tens of millions of pounds to City that don't have websites, that don't have staff, that don't make products. And people are saying, well, who and what are these companies? Again, show us who these companies are, what they do, their products, their services, and how they can afford this, and nobody will think that you're cheating. It's not an irrational or poor question to ask, in my opinion. But as I say, if you can prove all these things, show me. People can give me abuse, they can call me pejoratives, but show me where I'm wrong, educate me, and I'll change my mind. City defeated UEFA. It's all in all 5 arguments in style. Yeah, a lot of it was time barred though, my friend. And they did. And this is the thing. The Premier League doesn't have a time bar rule. And if the time bar rule existed in the Premier League investigation, you'd win that as well. But that's winning it by default as far as I'm concerned. If you get off with a time bar, that isn't you beating case. That's a technicality.